preparation for today's Governor's Forum, we are very pleased and gratified to have received more than 100 questions from Minnesotans of all ages. The questions that we are about to pose the candidates and the representatives are a distillation of those 100 questions.
Hi, I'm Florence Matadi, born and raised in Liberia, West Africa. I have a nursing background, associate degree in public administration. And now I am a junior social work student at the University of St. Catherine. When it comes to faith and values as an African woman, I wonder if I am accepted in my new home called Minnesota or America. My life has been a rolling stone. I lost my job, my home was being foreclosed. All this I have still to attend school with the support of Galilee Church and Isaiah. I have gave me the courage to start my own Liberian support group. Now, here I am. I want you to think about faith and moral in your life.
Hi, my name is Cassie Cameroon, and I live in Woodbury. I'm a freshman at St. Bernard's Catholic School in the north end of St. Paul. I think that you, as candidates, people who desire to govern and make important decisions for our community, should include your faith with your decisions, because God is a part of everyone's life every day. God is especially important in my life. He has been with me when I have needed him most, and even when I thought I did not. I believe that by putting faith into your choices as a candidate for governor, it will help you make compassionate and effective decisions for the life of Minnesotans. So, my question is, just as my school and community have shaped my values, I'd like to hear about how someone in your life has shaped your values and in what way. How will your faith and values influence your decisions as governor?
Well, my father and mother did by the way they brought me up, to follow the Torah commandments, the 10 Commandments, to say the Shema before one goes to sleep at night, to thank God for the day, no matter what the day was, whether it was tough or easy or hard, but always thank God for the day that you had, and to thank God for the opportunity to wake up in the morning and face another day. And they gave me the strength to do that, and that's how I've lived my life, without fear, with faith in God, and strength to go on.
I have trouble these days with those who invoke God as though they have a direct line of communication. Maybe I'm jealous because I don't. As their authority for making decisions that I think are frankly immoral. And I must respectfully disagree with Mr. Horner. I think what's happened to GAMC is immoral. I think it's a disgrace. I think it's a travesty of justice. I think it's a travesty of everything I believe in my faith. Because the gospel that I read says, inasmuch as ye have done so unto the least of these my brethren, ye have done so unto me. The solution, as I understand it, is maybe the best possible, I don't know, between a governor who goes around the country running for president saying that God is in control and comes back and throws 36,000 people out of health care. The poorest of the poor, those who are least able to take care of themselves. And I certainly would agree with Mr. Horner, those of you who have spoken out as leaders from the faith community against that travesty of justice and against the immorality of it, deserve our respect and support. But I have no respect, none at all, for those who would destroy the lives of the poorest of the poor because they don't want the wealthiest people in the state to pay their fair share of taxes. And that's the fundamental basis of my campaign, to make the wealthiest people in the state pay their fair share of taxes so we can take care of the poor, so we can provide quality education to all of our children, so we're not overcrowding classrooms and running 4-day school weeks.
The person who influenced me most, not only on a faith base side, but in life in general, it was my grandma Kovach. Her parents immigrated to this country, and they lived a very, very moderate lifestyle. And through it all, they stressed to me two things: have faith and work hard. And they took those two principles and created lessons that I still heed today, or at least I try to heed. They never lived beyond their means. She was kind to everyone. I know this sounds a little idealistic, but she was. She was kind to everyone, and she put great emphasis on volunteering and helping others. And so when I get down and when I think I'm not succeeding at certain things as much as I think I should be doing, I like to think of her, and it kind of puts things in perspective. In terms of the power of prayer, I'd be remiss if I didn't share this somewhat a funny story. There was a time in high school, 1986, when I had applied to Notre Dame. And for those of you who know about the lineage that goes through Domers, it can be kind of an intense period. And she decided that she was going to attend Mass daily and say a prayer for me. And we waited and we waited, and got into November, and we were getting close to December, and it was starting to get cold with that lake effect condition in Whiting, Indiana. And she called my mom one morning and said, "Gert," my mom goes by Trudy now, but she said, "Gert, will you please tell those people to let them in now, because it's getting really cold walking to Mass every morning." She taught me a lot, and I've learned a lot from it.
I grew up in a family where my father was fairly well known at the time I was growing up. My dad, Jack Horner, was one of the first television and broadcast celebrities in this community, a sports announcer. And what I always admired about my dad was that values, integrity, respect for others were just integral to his life. He didn't wear them on his sleeve. They were woven into the fabric of who he was, and that's what he passed on. And so many times, my father passed away about 5 years ago, and so many times in the last 5 years, I've had people come up to me and tell me stories about my dad that don't surprise me, but reinforce for me how much he taught me. And one of my favorite ones, Matt Little, who some of you know, longtime civil rights advocate in this community, was part of the Freedom March in 1963, where Martin Luther King gave his famous address. And he told me after my father died, he said, "Tom, one of the things you probably never knew about your dad is that in the 1940s, the 1950s, when the NAACP was hosting its Freedom Fund banquets, we knew we could always call on your dad to be the MC, to be the celebrity that would show up." And that meant a lot to me, because that's who my dad was. And so as I think about values, when I started to run for governor, was starting to think about running for governor, I did the unusual thing and actually went and read the Constitution of Minnesota. And it really is instructive, I think, for what we're doing here today. The preamble of the Constitution talks about a Constitution that is written because we are grateful for God's blessings on Minnesota, for all that we have, and to preserve those blessings for posterity. But the first section, the very first words, say that political power is reserved to the people. It is up to us to act, to do what God wants, to preserve those blessings. And that's why we're here today, and that's why I'm running for governor. Thank you.